episode 85, Favorite Cars. Hello and welcome to this episode of 5 to 1. I messed that up. 5 to 1 is all about the countdown from our panel of experts on a different topic each episode. Today we are featuring our favorite cars in our style of counting down from
5 to 1.
So Cade recently got his first car and his driver's license. It's a Nissan 370Z.
Yes.
And you love the car.
Love it.
And it sparked a lot of interest in cars around the house. Even me, I'm not a car person. I've been shopping, and I almost bought a new car. I ordered one and then canceled it. So we've had lots of conversations around the subject of cars lately. And since our last episode was about singing in the car, it just made sense for us to make cars the focal point of this episode. Kate, why don't you tell us a little bit about your 370Z?
My 370Z is not the fastest car in the world, but it feels like you're going really fast.
Yeah.
And the car...
It is a very fast car. Even just objectively.
Yeah.
It's not slow.
It's not slow. Definitely not, but it's not where it could be.
It's loud.
It's not where it needs to be.
It is very loud.
But this car, it was perfect for me. I don't really care how fast it is, as long as the driving experience is something desirable.
Yeah.
I'll be satisfied with it.
Yeah.
And I do want my car faster. I do want it louder, but I love it.
You love it. Something happened today. You were telling me a story about a girl that you fell in love with.
Yes. A girl in an STI saw my car driving on the opposite side of the road.
What's an STI for the listening audience?
Subaru WRX STI. They come turbocharged, all-wheel drive. They were rally cars, but they're also, you can use them for drift cars, which I don't really understand how they did that in Fast and Furious. It's kind of hard to drift an all-wheel drive car, if you think about it. You're supposed to lose traction in the rear wheels. What happens if you lose traction in all wheels because they're all spinning?
Donuts? I don't know. You tell me.
It's true. I don't know. But she passed me, and she looked at my car, and she had like that jaw to the floor look in her face.
Yeah.
And I saw her make a really quick U-turn and follow me all the way down just to talk about my car.
Yeah.
And her car was cool, too. It was a WRX.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a cool color. It had nice rims on it and stuff like that.
What color was it?
It was just like, it was almost navy blue, but it was shiny.
Yeah.
And the rims were super shiny. It was really cool.
Huh. And you fell in love with her?
I did, because she just kept talking about my car. She didn't really let me speak. She just kept talking about my car.
Yeah.
I love this, and I love this. Oh, that's so cool. What's that right there? Oh, the interior's blue, too? Wow.
Yeah.
And
you didn't even get her number or Snapchat or anything?
Nope, I did not. It was quick, short-lived, and she drove straight, and I made a left turn, so.
Well, makes me sad. It could have been your future wife.
For real.
Maybe gone.
To find a girl that's into cars, it's kind of hard.
Yeah. I hear that. Well, okay, well, cool. And because of, all the talk we've had about cars, we thought this would be a good episode. Before we get much further, let's go ahead and introduce our panel of automobile experts. I'm CK. I'm joined by my two gearhead sons.
Cade Moore.
My 16-year-old.
Chet Moore.
My 14-year-old. And we are
5 to 1.
We did get a little bit of feedback from our last episode about songs to sing in the car. It was noted by several listeners that we did not include the song Hook by Blues Traveler, which is a really good choice.
I don't know a lot of the lyrics to that song.
That's a fun one to sing, for sure. Blues Traveler is fun, period. Cade, your choices received a lot of praise.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of people liked your list. Dave called you a champ in more ways than one. Casey educated me that the very famous Hope Diamond is blue, because I didn't know there were blue diamonds. So, like the most famous diamond in the world is blue. I didn't know.
I don't know what the Hope Diamond is.
It's the biggest diamond in the world. It's like huge.
Massive.
Not this big, but
it's
very big.
Really, really big diamond.
Yeah, it is big. It's not that big. Also, Cade, your choice for the worst, Sweet Caroline, as much as your list got praised, that one drew some ire.
I knew it would.
Pam King said that it was one of the few songs that she recognized from the entire episode. Casey said that you'd obviously never been to a bar when everybody starts singing it, especially in Europe when you're under 21. To your credit, though, you did apologize to anybody over the age of 45, which Casey is not, but, close enough.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
That's all I had for feedback, and we really love feedback. So please send feedback. We just love getting it, and I love sharing it on the episode. So I'll try to be better about checking things. The best place to do that is we have an email, 5to1podcast@gmail.com. We also have iTunes. You could leave us a review there. That's our favorite kind of feedback. We have a voicemail that hasn't been called in a long time, 469-607-5861. So, yeah, leave us some feedback. We love it. I get the feedback from Casey and Dave and those guys, Evan, Nick, and Darren, in my group text. Well, I'm not going to give out my group text or my number over the podcast, but there are other ways to get a hold of us. So we like that. So let's move on to our list. Before we get started, did you guys have any rules for your list?
I tried to have as much diversity in my list. I could have just done straight Japanese designed cars for my entire list, but I tried to switch it up a little bit.
Is that what the D and JDM stands for? Japanese designed?
I think so.
Oh, okay. JDM is an acronym used to describe like that market of cars. Like
and they do the best. They do it the best.
Yeah, like 100%. It's basically, for those who don't know, it's kind of like what you would expect to see on Fast and Furious. Like those are pretty much all JDM, unless it's an American muscle car. It's a JDM car.
Cars peaked in that time. They absolutely peaked. I mean, we're building cars today that can reach new heights and new speeds and do crazy things, but I don't care. I really don't care. Not one bit. The best cars ever were made during that time.
Yeah, because of the style
and the potential that they had. Yeah. Way ahead of their time. And if you think about it and you read about it, some of the stuff they developed for their cars are being used in other modern practices today that aren't related with cars.
Yeah.
And they did it the best. So
cool. Okay. Jet, what about you? Do you have any rules for your list?
They had to be cars. Personally,
this is a valid point for him, though.
I would prefer if our transportation was mainly horses. Like, you can get to places the same, less injuries. Like, how many people die from cars if you think about it, and how many people die from horses?
Well, I think if we all traveled by horse all the time, a lot of people would die from horses too.
Yeah, but there'd be less horse injuries than car injuries that there are now. That's my point.
I doubt that.
Maybe it would also take us a lot longer.
True.
Also, I couldn't have any jets or anything like planes. They had to be cars.
This brings up an interesting point because I have a note here. I think this will be an interesting episode because Cade is like super into cars and knows a lot about them. Jet literally knows the least about cars out of anybody I've ever met.
Wasn't it like 2 months ago we had to like tell him what the difference between an SUV and a sedan
like
and
Cade,
a truck was?
From the age of like 1 year old, you could see a car like a mile away and you'd be like, oh, that's a blah, blah, blah. Like you would know. And you've always been that way. You still do. You see cars when we're driving and you're like, that's a WRX or an STI or what, an acronym I'm not even familiar with. And you saw it like a mile away. Jet doesn't know the difference between an SUV and a sedan and a coupe and like the style of it, like truck, even the style of car. So just recently we were coming back from the state tournament, which was in Houston, and Jet and I were on the road together. You were on the bus with your team, and we stopped at Buc-ee's, which is people outside Texas don't know what Buc-ee's is, but it's like the ultimate place to stop on a road trip.
It's like the coolest gas station of all time.
Yeah, it's got a gigantic store and a million bathrooms, and they're all super clean always.
Yeah.
So everybody in Texas always stops.
It's more like a store.
The people there aren't usually clean, but
well, that's because like there's a million people there. I don't think I've ever been in a Buc-ee's when there aren't like 1,000 people there.
That's true.
It's always crowded. They have like a restaurant in there too that you could order from.
And the food is so good.
Really good
I get like a $5 burrito and it's giant.
Yeah.
I got the 10-layer burrito and it had all sorts of fajita, veggies, and steak and stuff like that.
You said it was like better than like a Chipotle.
It was better than Chipotle burrito.
Yeah. Huh. Well, we were at Buc-ee's, Jet and I, and there was a brand new Corvette, one of the new ones. The new Corvettes, they don't look like the old Corvettes. They look more like
the mid-engine one.
Yeah, they look more like
a McLaren or something.
Like a McLaren kind of. Yeah. And we saw one. It was kind of a pale sky blue color. And Jet was like, "Oh, that's a cool car. What kind of car is that?" And I was like, "Oh, that's a Camry." And he's like, "Oh, okay." Like just like totally bought it, right? I'm like, "Jet, I'm kidding. A Camry is like a normal sedan, like that car right there." And I pointed, which happened to be a Camry. Like I just got lucky, but. That's the extent of Jet's knowledge of cars. So I think this will be a really fun episode.
I'm really curious to see your list, Jet, and yours too, Dad.
It'll be fun. And I'm somewhere in the middle. I'm not a car guy. I know more than Jet. I know less than Cade. So it'll be fun to get through. Are you guys ready to get started?
Yep.
All right, let's do Cade. What's your
number 5?
I know people hate on people or little kids, not even little kids. People just praise Supras, Everyone loves the Supra. Mm-hmm. Well, for my number 5, I chose the 1988 Toyota Supra Mark III. Not the famous Mark IV.
The Mark IVs are the ones from the movies.
Ryan had the famous orange one.
Yeah, and they go for a lot of money now.
Oh,
okay. But
shit
you're
ton of
picking
money,
Mark III, so an earlier
the
model.
Mark III. It comes with the 1JZ GTE inline-6 twin turbo.
That's face right now.
When they released the first version of the Mark III in 1986, it was naturally aspirated non-turbo 1JZ. But in 1987, they released the twin turbo one, which didn't pass emissions in the U.S. So you couldn't really buy them at that time in the U.S.
Okay.
You know, that's
the
what...
style of this car. It's got the pop-up headlights, which I like more than just the normal headlights the Mark IV Supra comes with. And this thing just looks like a beast. Like you look at this car and you'd be scared to race it because you know it's going to be fast.
Huh.
And everyone, what's it called? In 1986, the Celica and the Supra, you know how they were like bonded into like one car? So like it was like the Toyota Celica Supra.
I did not know that.
Well, they were. Well, in 1986, they broke away, and this is the first Supra model that was on its own.
Okay. I liked both of those cars.
I like both of them too. I think
When
they're
I was
cool.
a teenager in the 90s growing up, I thought they were both cool cars.
Yeah. Well, I picked this one because I like the way it looks better
Okay.
over the Mark IV,
Yeah.
and it has the same tuning potential.
Yeah.
So
Can you get, like, because I recently been looking at older cars from the 80s that were kind of sports cars in the 80s, but that are affordable now.
Yeah.
Could you get a Mark III Supra now, or is it also very
you can
expensive?
find them for under 10 grand.
Okay.
Pretty
So a
easily.
lot of the ones I were looking at were around 10 grand.
Yeah.
So.
They go by marks?
Mark is like Iron Man.
Yeah,
Mark
that's
1,
what I was
Mark 2.
about to
It
say,
just
like,
means
that's
like the
what-
next model. M for Mark.
Yeah.
Mark for M, I should say. Okay, cool. Anything else to add about the, would you pick 88 Supra?
Yep.
Okay.
Nope, that's it.
Good choice.
Oh, and it's a Toyota. It's going to be super reliable. You can
Yeah, it's
get
gonna
like
last forever.
500,000 miles out of this thing if you take care of it.
Yeah. Good point. All right, Jet, what's your number 5?
Okay, my number 5 is more just of one basic
Oh,
car category.
I'm so sorry. One thing.
Pause,
I was
Jet.
shopping online for this car, and I did find one with over 1 million miles on it.
Oh my gosh. That's crazy.
On the stock motor, too.
Wow. Huh. That's a lot of miles.
It's just saying they over-engineered these cars.
Yeah.
Trucks.
Trucks is your number. Okay.
Just trucks.
All right, elaborate on why trucks is your number 5.
So, like you said, I can't really like name cars whenever I'm going around. I can name Jeeps and trucks very easily because they're distinct.
Yeah, you could always tell when it's a pickup truck,
And they're
right?
big.
Yeah. Do you like my truck?
It's all right.
Do you know what kind of truck I have?
Ram.
I do have a Ram. That's correct. I've had 2 Rams. My older Ram, I
I
liked
think he
a
was
lot.
too small for that one. Or too young.
He's too young to remember.
I
but
don't remember it.
My older one was better than my new one for sure. It was a really nice.
Okay, you
truck.
live in Texas, and we have all sorts of kind of trucks. Do you like the trucks that are really low to the ground? Do you like the
Yeah,
ones
I
that
like
are
those.
lifted,
Oh,
like,
really?
super
I
high
like
in the
low
air?
trucks.
You like low ones more than the ones with like the big wheels that are way up high?
Those are cool too, but I like the low ones.
Same.
Okay. I don't have a truck on my list, which might surprise you guys.
Yeah, that's crazy.
If I were to put a truck on my list, it would be the Dodge Ram Rebel TRX.
TRX.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I think mine would be. I don't have a truck on my list either.
I know what you would pick.
What do you think?
The Shelby.
No,
Really?
absolutely not.
Okay, I'm surprised.
Still Ford. I'm a Ford Lightning.
Okay. Oh, there you. Okay.
It's the coolest truck ever.
Yeah.
Lightning?
Yeah. Ford made it's like a small truck with what kind of engine did it have? Was it like a Viper engine? No, that's Dodge. They wouldn't have used a Viper engine. I don't know what kind of engine it was, but it was super powerful and fast in this pickup truck. And it was actually very dangerous because it could roll over pretty easily.
That or the GMC Cyclone, which came out. The Ford made the Lightning to compete with the GMC Cyclone, but the GMC Cyclone was faster.
Yeah.
So if you want an even lighter truck that's faster,
You should check out that website I sent you that had the 25 cars from the 80s that are affordable today that were fast. There's a truck on there. It was a little truck. I think it was a Dodge. But it was pretty cool.
I love little trucks.
Yeah.
I like Ford Rangers a lot.
Yeah.
And Toyota Tacomas.
The Toyotas are cool.
Yeah.
Casey used to drive a 1984 Toyota pickup, and he had it like all through high school and college, and then after for a while. and it didn't even have like power steering. You know, like
man.
when he would have to do like a 5-point turn or something, the next day he'd be sore. He'd be like, did I work out yesterday? Because you had to roll down the windows like manually and all that. But it was a cool truck. It looked cool and it was reliable and it was manual.
Heck yeah.
I like trucks.
All right.
And they have a unique feature of a big bed.
What do you think of what do you think of the Cybertruck? Do you know what that is?
No.
That's the Tesla truck. Have you seen
Did
it?
you show me that?
I think
Yeah.
it's over the top
Looks
and
pretty
ridiculous,
stupid.
but I absolutely love it.
It looks stupid, but the technology is amazing. I really when I heard they were coming out with a truck, I was like, I'm going to get one because I love driving trucks. I like the utility of them. Being able to haul things is very helpful. We use it all the time.
Yeah.
And I like that they are powerful and fast, even though they have a lot of utility. The Tesla, you get all of that, and like you don't have to sacrifice gas mileage, obviously. And plus, it was supposed to do all these other cool things, like 0 to 60 in 3 seconds or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
And then I saw how it looked, and I'm like,
It definitely looks like it came out of Elon's mind.
never mind.
And I love it. I love it. I think it looks awesome.
I could never.
It does
buy
look
one.
like a car from the future.
It looks like something from
It
Halo.
looks like a car from the future that somebody designed. And it looks like a car from now that somebody in like 1981 thought cars would look like in the future.
Future, yeah.
That's what it looks like. All right. Are you done with trucks for your number 5, Jet?
Yep.
All right. My number 5.
Whoa. That's awesome.
So for those who can't see it, I put up another monitor in our studio with some visualization. I wish I could share it with the listeners too, but I've got a little PowerPoint going up for the boys so they can see my choices. It's a 1985 Ferrari Testarossa. This choice doesn't really fit in with the rest of my list because I did not want to include supercars because they're like unattainable, really. You know.
I think you can attain one of these.
No, I looked. They're like $200,000 still, even from 1985.
Really?
Yeah. There were some models that were like 90, 91 that were like 105, 115, 120.
I've seen Ferraris from this era that are you can find them for like
I want
60
not a Testarossa.
to 80 grand.
Not a
Yeah.
Testarossa.
Probably
Maybe
not a Testarossa.
a Modena or a different model, or a California. The Testarossas are still the reason I picked this one is because it's so iconic. When any dude my age thinks of a Ferrari, that's what they think of. You know, it's just got a very iconic look. The two supercars I considered were this one and the Lamborghini Countach, which is also from the same era, also very iconic, both very 80s looking, which is a style that I really like. And it was a close call, but I challenge our listeners that enjoy cars, go Google 1985 Ferrari Testarossa and tell me it's not fucking awesome.
It's beautiful.
Which, by the way, I've always had us be a clean show, but like you guys are older now, let's just go explicit.
Okay.
We're not going to go over the top, right? But if you want to drop an F-bomb, drop an F-bomb.
I mean, how many younger listeners do we have?
I don't know. I think some people, because we're a family, father and two sons,
Yep.
they listen with their kids. Give them earmuffs if you want.
Respectfully.
I'll
Yeah.
just like notify everyone before
We're
I
not
say
gonna
something
be
explicit.
egregiously over the top.
Respectfully curse.
Yeah, respectfully curse. There you go. But yeah, so Ferrari Testarossa is my number 5. I can't afford one, but maybe someday.
Now that I think of it, I think. Never mind. I was about to say I think all of my choices had pop-up headlights.
Oh, really? The Testarossa does.
It's a beautiful car.
Yeah,
Those vents on the side are
I know they're just so cool.
they're like yeah.
All right, moving on. Hey, Kate, or I should just do this.
Moving on.
Kate, what's your
Number 4.
My number 4 is ironically the Lamborghini Countach.
Okay, well, nice segue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This thing looks like a spaceship.
Yeah.
I love it. Everything about it. I heard it's very uncomfortable to drive. It's super small on the inside.
Yeah.
Your window is like that, like super tiny little window that rolls down. It's got one of those half windows,
Yeah.
where you can only roll down like a little part
Because
of
the
it.
doors like wing up,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
That's so sick. If you're buying a Lamborghini, it doesn't come with Lamborghini doors. And like, what are you doing?
I read online when I was looking at the Testarossa and the Countach that the Countach was so hard to drive in reverse because you had no vision at all
yeah.
that people would open their wing door and like lean out of their car if they had to back out from their driveway or a parking spot or whatever.
That's crazy. That's a flex though.
It is. And the other thing I read about it, which was interesting, I thought, was that when it came out, they advertised the top speed of 178 miles an hour, I think is what it was, and it was a lie. They were trying to compete with the Ferrari. I don't know if it wasn't the Testarossa, it was a different model, but whatever model it was, it had the record speed at that time.
Yeah.
were like 176. So they said they could go 178. It was a lie. It couldn't go that fast. It was more like 168 or something. So, But yeah, an unbelievably cool looking car for sure.
Yeah, if I had this car, I'd almost be too scared to drive it.
Yeah.
I feel like it's something I just have to preserve and keep. But at the
Yeah.
same time, I'm not going to say that. If I have this thing, I'm going to absolutely whip it. Like, I'm going to drive this thing to the ground.
Yeah.
But it's the coolest Lamborghini ever made.
Yeah.
100%.
Agreed.
And I think you're right about Ferrari, too. That Ferrari right there is probably the
The
coolest one ever
Testarossa?
made.
Yeah. They're both like super iconic.
Mm-hmm.
I remember lots of kids had Lamborghini Countach posters in their room. I played with Matchbox cars, Hot Wheels cars when I was a kid, which you guys have inherited, and you both played, especially Cade played a lot with when you were growing up. And I had a white Lamborghini Countach Hot Wheels or Matchbox.
Have y'all ever?
I still play with Matchbox cars.
Well, do you know which one I'm talking about?
I
The
do.
white one?
Yeah. I love that one.
Love that
really
one.
Cool.
Have
The
y'all-
wheels got stuck though.
Have y'all ever seen one of those cars in real life?
A Countach? No.
I don't know. I don't think so.
I have not seen one. I would love to see one, but
I've seen Lambos, but I don't think I've seen a Countach. If I did, I was too young to remember or recognize it.
I saw a Lamborghini SVJ, which is like $700,000 something dollars, ridiculous
Yeah.
amount. But I think that's the most expensive Lamborghini I've ever seen.
Huh. All right, Jet, what's your number 4?
Do y'all know what a Pontiac Trans Am is?
Heck
Yes.
yeah. Good
Of course
pick.
I do.
That's Kit from Knight Rider. I haven't even seen Knight Rider,
Yeah.
but I've always loved the way the car looks.
Okay. Yeah, Pontiac
That's a
Trans
cool
Am's.
pick.
That's a little bit later model. I would have gone with like a 78 Pontiac Trans Am, which is more like the Smokey and the Bandit style. That's black with like the gold eagle painted on the hood, and it had the T-tops. Like, those are cool Trans Ams. The Kit one's really cool too. So are you picking the Trans Am or are you picking Kit?
Probably Kit.
Okay.
Can I do that?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay. Kit is is number 3.
4.
4. I don't even know like what Knight Rider is about. Like, does the car have guns or something?
No, it's like
can talk to
it
him.
talks to him. It's like
Oh.
a smart car.
Is it David Hasselhoff in it?
Yeah, I think it is David Hasselhoff.
Great actor. And SpongeBob.
Yeah, I was about to
Is
say.
it David Hasselhoff? Now that I'm thinking about it, I think it is David Hasselhoff, yeah. Okay. It is a cool car. It's an iconic car from the 80s.
I think they're cool. All Trans Ams.
Yeah.
Even the later years when they didn't have like the T-top and the
Yeah.
gold eagle on the front and stuff like that. I still like those.
Yeah. They always stayed pretty cool. My favorite though is definitely that like late 70s, early 80s.
That used to be my dream car.
I remember do you remember we stopped at we were on our way to get lunch or something, and when we lived in our old house, and we were driving through Murphy, and there was like a little car show going on, and we stopped and we walked around and they had one there. Do you remember that?
I do remember that. That was
Yeah.
pretty cool. They had some really cool cars there.
Yeah.
I remember there was a McLaren that was parked right next to us, not even at the car show.
Right. Yeah. Not like also looking at
Yeah,
cars.
he came to look at the cars in a McLaren.
And a McLaren. Yeah. That's funny. All right, Jed. Anything else
That's
to
a good
add
pick, Jed.
about
No.
Kit or the Trans Am?
No.
All right. Let's move on to mine. You can look at the screen if you'd like to get a frame of reference here. This one, okay, my number 4 spot is usually my weird choice, and I went for the weird one here. I wanted to include, this is kind of a cool story though, so hear me out. I wanted to include a big conversion van on my list, like the kind that we used to ride in on wrestling tournaments with who we call Papa J, another wrestling dad who has a big van. And I really do love them. They're great to travel in. It was really cool for the tournaments because you guys had all the space. You could lay down and sleep. And I remembered, though, when I was going through this list that we had a van when I was very young. That my sister, I have memories of traveling in, like to the beach, for example, with my sister. And so I texted both my mom and my dad, and they gave me different stories about what kind of van we had. But what I was able to piece together is we had one called a Good Times van, which is officially my choice for number 4, Good Times van. And I looked up what that was. Dude, okay, first of all, look at the logo.
It looks awesome.
It's like super 70s, 80s. Anybody who's listening to this, go Google Good Times Inc. or Good Times Van, and you'll see what I'm talking about. It looks like it's from like the 70s, 80s for sure. Like it's unmistakably from that era. And what they did is they were located in Arlington, Texas. They took Dodges, Chevys, and Ford vans, and they turned them into customized conversion vans. Listen to this from like the brochure. Getting there is half the fun, but getting there in a flurry of funky fun is even better. One way to get it on is in a Good Times Incorporated customized van. The work is done in a factory in Arlington, which happens to be close to us.
Yep.
And the 70-man assembly line turns them out at a 10-day clip. This is from the owner. We sell every one we turn out, and there's a waiting list, according to Billy Walker, president of the 2-year-old company. This obviously was said a long time ago. At around $7,250 a unit, that's grosses close to $1 million. The vans, Fords, Chevys, or Dodge, are dolled up to suit their owner's taste. Anything from a plush GT unit featuring carpeting, waterbeds, and stereos to a sedate stadium van ideal for family outings, which I think is what we had.
It's pretty sick.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome. I can't believe we owned one of these things. Like, I really want one now. They're so cool.
How
That is
expensive
pretty
are they?
awesome.
Well, they were $7,250 a piece back then. This company doesn't exist anymore. If it was still that price, I'd go buy one right now. Like, that's amazing.
That's pretty awesome. I like vans a lot.
Yeah.
I think they're really cool. There's an underground car culture around pimping out vans, and I think it's pretty badass.
Really?
Yeah.
If you ever meet anybody in that culture, talk to them about good times and see what information.
I've seen a couple.
Really?
People where they have like tons of subs in the back. On the inside, they have like really nice carpet and like leather and lighting and stuff like that. They got tables. I've seen one with a chandelier in the back. It's pretty badass.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was this one when I found out some more information about the van that my family used to own, I got really excited. So I did ask for pictures of it. Nobody sent me any yet because I have to find them. Mm-hmm. But ours was blue and beige, which is kind of similar to one of the ones on there. Some of the ones I looked up online had like some pretty sweet paint jobs on them, like the kind that we've seen like in movies and stuff, where it's got like a mural of a movie scene or something, like from Star Wars or whatever. There were some that had like the galaxy on them and stars and stuff like that. Yeah, it's really cool.
I don't know if you ever remember seeing this, but there was like, when I was a kid, I remember seeing a lot of carpet that was like galaxy carpet. I never see galaxy carpet anymore.
Yeah.
Is it just me? Or like, I remember going into
like at a
certain
skating
places,
rink?
or like a restaurant even sometimes.
Yeah.
I remember going in and seeing like galaxy carpet, or carpet that was black and had like designs on it.
Yeah.
I don't see any cool carpet anymore.
Yeah, everything's pretty like
Pretty hardwood.
Yeah.
Or like tile.
I think if we went to the skating rink, you would see some galaxy carpet.
I think
there.
galaxy carpet
That'd
is
be
the
amazing.
coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, if I designed a house,
You put galaxy carpet.
if I designed a van like that, it would have galaxy carpet in it.
Yeah. I agree.
If I designed a house, I wouldn't have it be one solid color like the paint job.
Same.
I'd have it like black and yellow
Black and blue.
or black and red.
Black and blue. All right, that's all I had for my number 4. Cade, what's your
Number 3.
Our lists are like weirdly similar.
Yeah?
Your number 3 was a company that took cars and made them different, right?
Yeah.
Well, my number 3 is an RWB Porsche 911.
What's RWB?
It stands for Rahweltbegriff.
Is that
a company
Did you
started
say that
by-
backwards?
No. It started by a guy named Akira Nakai, who started tuning and adding little, like, selling car parts for Porsches. And so he started this conversion line where you can send your Porsche in, and for starting at $30,000, going up to like $300,000, you can convert your Porsche into this like wide body, super low, super shiny, custom interior, like awesome looking Porsche. I wish I could pull up a photo right now and show everyone that's looking at these, but go look up RWB Porsche 911.
RWB Porsche 911. Okay.
It's the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
He puts custom wide body kits on them, and they're not like those cheap bolt-on wide body kits. I mean, these fender flares he designs himself, and he does most of the work himself. It's pretty cool. And he started from like extremely humble beginnings.
Yeah.
Work like jumping from shop to shop in Japan, just trying to work on cars and stuff like that because he loved them, until one of his cars took a spotlight at a car show, and then he became more popular, and now people are wanting to send their Porsches up to this guy to get them wide-bodied and have giant spoilers. You know that one car scene from Cars where all like the four... It's the coolest scene in all of Cars.
Oh, I know what you're talking
Those
about.
four cars
Yeah.
that are like have LED lights over them, they're shooting flames and giant spoilers. This car looks like it belongs there.
What type of car is Lightning McQueen?
He doesn't have... It's not like a real car. Every other car in that movie was a real car, but Lightning McQueen was just an original design.
Huh.
People think
His
he's
girlfriend
like
was a
Corvette or
Porsche,
something.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he kind of looks like a Corvette.
Yeah, but he's not.
That's my number 3.
Is it really? Or did you
Corvettes.
make that? Oh, Corvettes? I thought you were going to say Lightning McQueen.
That would be a better choice, but no, it's Corvettes.
Okay. Are you done with your RWB Porsches?
Yeah, everyone that's watching this, go look up RWB Porsche 911.
That'll be nobody. Nobody's watching this.
Everybody listening to this.
All right, Joe, why is Corvette your number 3?
Well, when I'm in the car, in a car, I'm always pointing at cars that I don't know, and I'm like, "What car is that?" I either ask one of y'all, and often I see Corvettes, and I don't even know it's a Corvette. But I'm like, "That car's cool. What is that?" And you say it's a Corvette. That's why it's my number 3.
Oh, okay. That has happened a couple times lately. I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
You've asked me a couple times what car is that, and it's been a Corvette.
Yeah,
Especially older ones. Do you like the older ones?
Yeah.
I like the older ones better than the design. I like the older ones better than the newer ones.
Same. Like 2005 and below. I like them more than anything.
Like 1985 and below are my favorites. Like the Stingrays from the 80s are cool in the 70s.
There's one parked next to me today at school.
Oh, yeah, you showed me this.
It's a black, I think it's a 77 or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was supercharged. It had a blower kit on it, so it waxed my car.
And he took a picture and posted it right on his.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know whose this is, but it's pretty cool.
How did you find it, by the way?
I saw it, and I parked next to it.
No, I mean, how did you find the post?
Oh, someone tagged me in the comments. It was like, oh, it's this guy's car.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah,
Good job.
Corvettes are awesome machines.
Good pick for number 3, Jet. Are you done with Corvettes?
Yes.
All right, my number 3.
That's pretty awesome.
My number 3 is a 1992 Ford Explorer XLT, which you might be wondering as a listener, why the heck would you pick a Ford Explorer? It's because it's the Jurassic Park car.
Cars need cooler names.
Yeah, some of them are cool, but yeah, not the Ford Explorer. I wanted at least one car from a movie on my list. The obvious choice I left off because I really assume that Jet is going to have it on his. And I won't say what it is, so don't reveal it yet if you don't want to, Jet. But I went with this one instead from Jurassic Park because I love how they look and because I knew it would piss off Jet a little bit because he hates this movie. So
I don't hate it. It's just like the second most overrated movie of all time. Jurassic Park. People love this movie, and it's predictable. And it's the only thing I can give props for it is its effects. The effects are amazing.
Yeah.
Especially for the time. They're groundbreaking.
They look real.
Yeah.
To this
And
day.
the soundtrack. The soundtrack is great.
John
Those two
Williams.
things are great. The acting, the plot, the characters are just
the
all...
story is great.
The story's not great.
The story is very good. It was written by probably my favorite author, Michael Crichton. I love all of his books, and it was the first book I read from him, and I think the first book I read on my own that is an adult book, not because I had to read it for school or whatever.
I think more movies should do what Jurassic Park does. It's real.
The
Practical effects instead of CGI. In some cases, CGI is better, but definitely more movies should use practical effects.
I saw a Jeep the other day with this paint job.
I have that in my notes here. I know a lot of people do this with Jeep Wranglers. They put the Jurassic Park paint job on it, and I think that there's a little bit of the Mandela effect going on with that because now people think, oh, those cars in the movie were Jeep Wranglers because I've seen quite a few of them with the paint job, and it does look cool, but it is also kind of lame because it's not the car from the movie.
If you're gonna do it, go buy a Ford Explorer XLT. It can't be that expensive.
Yeah.
Maybe that year is and that exact model because of what the car is.
Yeah,
but
I think the thing with Jeeps is that they're pretty customizable, and people get really attached to them. So they kind of maybe they're just like, oh, I really love that car. I'm going to make my Jeep look like it. I get that, but it is.
I think Jeeps are sick. I think they look awesome and they do cool things.
Yeah,
I hate driving one.
they're not fun to drive for a daily driver. I mean, we have one. I hated driving it, and not because it is a cool car. It looks cool, and you're right. It can do amazing things off road.
Yeah,
but I'm an aggressive driver. I need something with some pickup, some speed. And the Jeeps are so slow.
Yeah, unbelievably slow.
Yeah, just not for me. But that's really all I had. But my number 3 was the Jurassic Park car.
Those rims are sick on it.
Yeah, they are. They're yellow. Yeah. All right. Moving on. Cade, what is your
number 2?
My number 2 is a 1994 Nissan R34 GTR Skyline V-Spec 2 Nismo.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so Skyline I'm familiar with, GTR I'm familiar with, Nismo I'm familiar with. Are those all separate things combined into one car?
Yes, this is the most untouchable car from this kind of culture right here.
Was this could you have gone to a Nissan dealership in 1994 and said, I want that and gotten one? Or is this something that is developed over time?
Developed over time.
Okay.
What's it called?
A 1994 Nissan R34 GTR Skyline V-Spec 2 in midnight purple. Nismo in midnight purple. Only 282 were made in this color.
Okay.
And it's the coolest color I've seen on any car. It's dark purple. In the light, it looks golden and blue. All in one. Sometimes it may look green too when the sun's setting.
Interesting.
But it's like the coolest combination of all these cool colors.
Yeah.
And there's only 282 made. You couldn't even buy an R34 Skyline in America because it didn't pass the emissions test.
Okay.
You can only order an R34 Skyline or R34 in general if it's a show car, and you can only drive it a certain number of miles on the road each year just to keep it in good condition.
Yeah.
That's what they allow it.
Huh.
So this car is literally untouchable for anyone. And the amount of technology that came into this car is ridiculous for its time. It has four-wheel steering at low speeds. The rear wheels turn the opposite direction from the front ones to make sharper turns. So this thing's turning radius is insane.
Yeah.
And while drifting too, that plays a big part. You can carry out like long drifts in this car.
Yeah.
At high speeds, they turn in the same direction
Okay. See a better
for smoother
traction.
turning.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Huh. Interesting.
this car, it's just perfect all the way around.
Yeah.
Looks super mean from the front. Everyone recognizes the taillights. People know what a GTR's taillights look like.
Yeah.
It's just the coolest car.
Huh. Cool. I'm surprised it's your number 2.
Yeah.
I'm eager to see what your number 1 is.
Yeah, but this car is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
If you haven't given it a chance, look up Midnight Purple GTR.
I will. I will look it up for sure. All right. Anything else?
I could go on. Oh, this car was one of the first cars to have a little like touch screen, like the
Oh, like for the dash unit?
yeah, and it like flipped up like that. And
Okay.
if you bought the Nismo version, it came with like boost gauges and all this other really cool stuff inside.
Have we seen this car in a Fast and the Furious movie?
Not this exact one, but yes,
Okay.
we
Something
have
similar.
Yeah, something similar. If have you seen Fast and Furious 2?
Probably.
Too Fast, Too Furious.
You gotta back up. Like every time you talk, it's like usually it's the opposite. So I'm proud of you for getting close to your mic, but you're a little too close. Okay, so I have probably seen it. I couldn't tell you. For sure.
There's a blue and silver one that Brian drives. It's
Okay.
pretty iconic to the series. It's pretty cool. And the inside of this car, everything is like facing the driver. Like everything's looking at the driver.
Yeah.
So it's meant to like feel like a race car when you're driving it.
Gotcha.
It feels like you're in an F1 car.
Yeah, I know that. Like when I was shopping for cars recently, I settled on a Tesla, but before I did, I was looking at Audi TTs, and they kind of do the same thing. They gear the entire cockpit towards the driver.
Yeah, which I think that's awesome.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Good job. Good choice. Jet, what's your number 2?
370Zs.
Oh, so you picked your brother's car. Nice.
I like this choice.
Whenever I first rode in 370Z, that was probably the first time I've ever even realized that I was in a car. Because whenever I'm in any other car, it's just, I don't even realize we're driving. I just think we're going somewhere.
Yeah.
When I'm in his car, I'm like, oh, we're actually driving. We're moving. And I'm aware of that.
Yeah. That's cool. I like the way you put that. That's a good way to describe what it's like to ride in a really cool car. And your brother's car is like that. That's awesome.
It's also very Cade.
Yeah, it fits him, like his personality. It's like the perfect car for Cade.
Really is.
Yeah.
I'll never get rid of it.
Yeah. Good. Keep it forever.
I will.
That's a really awesome car. Jed, I like that a lot. Do you have anything else to add about it?
Would you
Okay.
drive a 370?
Yeah,
Really?
I would.
Okay.
I'm not going to drive it because Cade's driving one.
Yeah.
Like, I want something different. Well, honestly, I don't really care what I have, but, like, yeah,
Yeah.
I would drive one.
Okay. Cool. All right. My number 2 is similar to the 37. Well, similar to a 300ZX, I should say. My number 2 is a 1987, 88 Pontiac Fiero GT, which I pulled up on the display over there if you'd like to see, boys. As we've been looking and talking about cars lately, I realized how much I really love cars from the 80s and some from the 90s that are sports cars but are not supercars. I love 300ZXs, especially from like 85, 86, that style. I really like Mazda RX7s, maybe some Pontiac Trans Ams, even though that's more of like the muscle car kind of than it is the sports car. But my favorite out of all of them, while we've been looking at these, is the Pontiac Fiero GT. It's very 80s looking. It almost looks like a poor man's Ferrari Testarossa in some ways. They have a lot of the similar body features. Some people mod the body kit with a Ferrari body kit, and they meld together like perfectly.
And it looks like a Ferrari.
It just looks like a smaller, like not as elongated Ferrari.
It just
basically.
looks like it'd be fun to drive.
Yeah, it really does. It's a mid-engine car. It only existed from 85 to 88.
Oh.
So it failed in the market because they didn't market it correctly. In 87 and 88, the reason I picked those years is because that's when they had figured it out. Like it became a sports car that was that people could afford, but it never really caught on. I think that they're affordable to buy now too. We did find one in Austin that had been modded a little bit, and it was really cool. And it was like $12,000. You know,
I mean, it was really really nice.
Yeah,
I think it was like LS2 swapped or something too. So.
It was really nice. Yeah, and they're affordable now. I don't think they're going to stay that way because the cult for these I've read online is growing larger. They have been in some movies like Fast and Furious movies and stuff. So people are like, "Oh, dude, I kind of remember these cars." And now they might follow like the Supra and the 300ZX, that same path where now like the ones from way back when are expensive again.
Yeah,
you know, very 80s, very cool. So my number 2 is a Pontiac Fiero GT, specifically from 87 or 88.
It's a really cool car. It's a really cool car.
I like it a lot.
It's the fact that I don't think I've ever seen one in person.
And after we looked at them, I'm like, okay, I know I've seen these, but there's not a whole lot. You're right.
It's rare.
Yeah. All right, Cade, what's your
number 1?
My number 1, I know it's pretty basic, and I might be hopping on the bandwagon, but it's a 1993 FD RX7 Mazda. FD.
Oh, RX7. Okay. I don't think you're hopping on any bandwagon here, unless you're talking about a car community bandwagon. But for the general population, there's no RX7 bandwagon, so I think you're safe for our listeners.
In the car community, it's pretty like the Mark IV Supra and the RX7 are like the LeBron James and Michael Jordan of cars. Like, if you're your favorite player, and like you might not know a lot of baseball.
Yeah,
but basketball.
Oh my god, I can't believe you did that.
I can't believe I messed up.
Well, Michael Jordan. I like Michael Jordan for his baseball career, not his basketball one.
That's what I meant to say. Yeah,
that was hilarious.
Well,
this spoken like a wrestler.
For real. This was the first sequential twin-turbo car to be exported from Japan.
Okay.
It's a carbureted rotary engine, and this engine is the best-sounding car of all time. There is no better-sounding rotary engine. And the reason why this car is my favorite, one, because it looks awesome, but I want to be able to drive this car because this car was built perfect for track.
Yeah.
It can take turns perfectly. I mean, it was just built to be like a race car. And because it's a rotary engine, it's only able to perform and stay healthy if you drive it at high RPMs. They wanted people to drive this car at 7,000 to 9,000 RPMs, redline it. Yeah. It's good for the car. You want to do that. You don't want to do that in your car. You don't want to redline your car every single time you drive it.
Sure.
It's bad. They wanted you to do it because it's good for the engine. It makes it last longer. If you didn't drive it fast all the time, it would build up carbon deposits. And it would eventually lead to engine failure. So you didn't want to do it.
This sounds like a death trap.
No, it's awesome. And it's got 50 to 50 perfect weight distribution throughout the front and the rear wheels. So driving this car felt like you were driving a go-kart.
Oh, okay. Huh.
So from what I've heard from other people who have drove it, it is the best driving experience you can have in a car.
Yeah. That's awesome.
It looks awesome, too.
They do look I love the way RX-7
The
look.
cult following behind this car is insane. And it bled into the market for it. There's so many aftermarket parts you can buy for it, all sorts of body kits and stuff. People probably recognize the Veil side RX-7, that Hondro from Tokyo Drift, the orange and black one. Mm-hmm. It doesn't even look like an RX-7 from the back, but there's so many cool things you can do with this car. And word on the street is that 90% of the cars that are still left are tuned in some way of some sort.
Really?
Yeah, it's hard to find a stock one of these anymore.
Yeah.
Because the people who own them and they love them and they want to build them.
If you did find a stock one, do you think it would go for more?
Oh, way more.
Because it hasn't been modded
yet?
Yeah.
You want to buy a car like this that's stock so you can do it yourself.
When I was looking at the Pontiac Fieros, there were a lot that had been modded.
Yeah.
There were a couple that had been untouched. Mm-hmm. And those were a little bit more expensive than the ones that had been modded, even though people spent more money to mod the ones, just because it was like, there's something about having it in its original condition that's desirable.
Mm-hmm. And I've raced 2 of them.
Really?
Yeah. One of them was completely stock, and I beat it. The other one, not stock at all, and I got killed. The tuning potential of this engine is crazy, and they use this engine to develop their track F1 kind of car with a 4-rotor instead of a 2-rotary engine. and it just sounds like a spaceship.
Huh.
You like, I'll have to pull it up, but
Yeah.
it sounds amazing. And that car won like several big competitions.
Yeah.
So, and what's it called? For the races that the FD RX7 did, it was super successful. For like 7 years, it won like the Le Mans and stuff like that. Like, had crazy times for that kind of stuff.
That's awesome.
And it just looks super Japanese.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's cool. Good choice. All right. All right, Jet, what's your number one?
The DeLorean.
Okay, which was obvious from Back to the Future.
Okay, there's real people who drive replicas of the car from the movies.
Yes.
Like real people.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
As opposed to fake people?
Well, oh yeah, I mean, the real car replica.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah, the car, so the DeLorean, like, looks awesome. It also has the vertical opening doors. It's very iconic from the movie. Apparently the car failed, like,
I heard it was horrible to drive.
Yeah, back in the 80s. But it's the ones that have existed and been, I mean, you could replace parts and have the body, you know, from the car and mod it to look like the Back to the Future
Flux
car.
capacitor. Put
a flux capacitor in it and have it be functional. I think they look amazing. I would have put it as my number 3, but I knew you were going to have it. So that's awesome.
Fun fact, there was a couple ones that were made in solid gold.
Really?
Yeah. 24 karat gold plated around the whole car.
Interesting.
I could have had all 5 of mine cars from movies. Like the one from Ghostbusters, the Ecto 5.
Mystery Machine.
Ecto 1?
I think it's Ecto 5.
And then there's Ecto 2 from Ghostbusters 2.
Red 5.
Red 5 is not a car or a vehicle at all. It's a person. Yeah, I thought about doing some more movie cars too, but
X-Wing.
Not a car.
The Mystery Machine. I think that's pretty cool.
Oh, from Scooby-Doo?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I had I considered a couple of car things, or movie things. The other ones that I had were the Ferrari California from Ferris Bueller.
That's pretty cool.
You know which car I'm talking about? They go and get Dad's car. It's a Ferrari.
And then those guys drive it around.
Yeah, at the parking garage. What about the Shaggin' Wagon from Dumb and Dumber?
It's pretty dumb.
I like it. I would drive it.
All right. We'll move on to my number one. What you're seeing on the screen is not my number one, but it's what I'm going to start the story with. My first car, which you see on the screen right now, Kate and Jet, is a 1986 Nissan Stanza.
That thing is sick.
It's pretty cool.
I love the boxy look of it.
Yeah, it had some style. I didn't love it at the time. I didn't realize that it was cool.
Is that your car right there?
No, but it was that color.
Oh.
Like this soft pastel yellow is like a very 80s color. It had character. It was super slow, but it had character, and I liked it. My friend Lane, who listens to our show, so he'll hear this. He rear-ended me shortly after he got his license, and he had a Ford Ranger actually, and totaled my Nissan Stanza. So
wait, you had that?
Yeah, I had that car. Yeah. My next car that I bought with the insurance, I didn't buy it. My stepdad did with the insurance check, and I hated it. Was a 1990 Toyota Camry. I really hated it a lot. So as soon as I had enough income on my own from working at Albertsons grocery store, I bought my own car, and it was glorious. Do you guys know what kind of car it was? Yes,
Jeep.
No? Yes.
Grand Cherokee
1995
Limited.
Jeep Grand Cherokee Limited. It was black.
That thing is awesome.
It had gold trim. If you look at the wheels, Kate, you can see a little bit of gold on those too.
Yeah, that's really cool.
It's not gaudy. It's just like a little touch that made it look really cool. The little fog lights on the front. Loved the way the car looked. I loved how the car felt. The seats were the most comfortable seats to ever exist in any car. I remember my payments were $383 a month. It took me 6 years to pay it off. And that was done with Albertsons money and waiting tables. I really, 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 really wish I still had this car.
We should go find one.
That's what I was going to say. If you can find one, tell me. I will buy it, and I will make it a project car. I would love to have that exact car, and instead
we can make it a sleeper.
What is a sleeper?
A car that looks like it'd be extremely slow and a piece of crap.
Yeah.
But actually is insanely fast.
Well, I mean, if I could find one for a couple $1,000s, which I think it would be around that cost, price at this time. They're old now. And then I could upgrade the interior with some new dash electronics. And then, I don't know, could you put an SRT8 engine in a 95 Jeep Grand Cherokee?
They have Jeep Grand Cherokees that come with
I
SVT.
know, but not a 95. So I mean, I don't know
Yes,
if
we
you could do that
definitely
engine
can.
swap.
Yeah, we 100% can.
That would be sick. I would drive the crap out of that car.
What color?
I want that exact one.
Black?
Yes,
I
just
say
like
put
my
a
old
2JZ
one.
in it.
I don't know what that is, but you find me one of those and I will buy
I will
one.
find you one of these cars because I do love Jeep Grand Cherokees. I think they're amazing cars. And you're right. I've been in a couple, and the seats, older ones, I've been in a couple older ones, and the seats are insanely comfortable.
Yeah.
I fell asleep in Braxton's car.
In his old
He drove
Jeep.
an old, it's a little later than this. I think it's early 2000s.
Yeah.
But the seats were so insanely comfortable.
Yeah.
And did your car have like a certain stench
No.
to it?
It didn't
I
smell.
don't know. I've been in like 2 Jeep Grand Cherokees I can remember that have like a certain stench that are designated to that car.
Yeah.
I don't know. But this is a really nice car. I love Jeep
Stench
Grand
usually
Cherokees.
means bad smell.
Not stench. I mean, it's just like certain. It's not a bad smell. It's not a good one either. It's just there.
I don't know. Maybe that was Braxton's practice clothes in the back or something. You know? All right, let's move on. Kate, do you have any?
Honorable mention.
I do have a couple. I do have a 1999 Civic Type R hatchback.
Okay.
Coolest hatchback ever, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Second coolest hatchback ever is a Volkswagen Golf R.
You do talk about golfs a lot.
They're really cool cars, and I love them. They're very European looking, and I like it.
Yeah.
I have a WRX STI.
Yeah.
I think they're super
Like
cool.
the girl you fell in love with today.
Yes, and they were rally cars, and I think rally racing is something super insane. And if you ever have seen it, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
They're going over 100 miles an hour on dirt roads.
Oh, wow.
Dirt roads. Yeah,
That's crazy. Oh, by the way, Kate, you have been inside that car.
I have.
Yeah, I had that car until a little bit after you were born.
Can't believe we don't have it anymore.
I know. I miss it. I sold it back shortly after you were born, and yeah,
I'm going to find one of these.
I regret it.
I have one more honorable mention.
Yeah.
It's a Bugatti EB110.
I'm not a fan of Bugattis.
Okay, this one is way older. It's from the 90s.
Yeah, maybe I just need to see it.
You need to see it. It looks like a 300ZX from the front.
Okay.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's the coolest Bugatti. I'm with you on the new ones. I don't like them. I'm not a huge fan of that whole hypercar, supercar scene,
Yeah.
stuff like that. But this car, it looks like it'd be from its time.
Yeah.
And I think it's really cool.
Okay. Cool. Jet, did you have any honorable mentions?
No.
Okay. I mentioned almost all of mine, so I'll just touch on the ones I didn't bring up. In the supercar category, I don't know if this counts as a supercar, but it looks like one to me, is the Lotus Elise or the Lotus Esprit from which they ended shortly before the Elises started, I think. I love those
Esprits were
cars.
on yeah, they look so cool.
They look really cool. Acura NSX, I will never call it a Honda NSX ever.
It's a Honda NSX.
It's an Acura NSX to me.
It's got a VTEC in it.
and the Audi R8.
Audi R8?
Yeah, and then out of the supercar category that are more affordable ones, I had Tesla and an Audi TT because I almost bought both of those recently. But that's all I had for honorable mentions.
Good picks.
All right, so let's move on to the worst. I guess is that next?
Yep.
Yeah, Cade, what's
The worst.
My worst is the Mazda RX-8.
the successor to the RX7?
Yeah.
Okay, why is that?
Well, they took the rotary out.
Okay, so made it like more drivable.
Yeah, made it like a normal car for people. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? No one wants that.
Yeah.
It looked okay. They changed the look. Some people like it, and they make it look crazy and look like a Fast and Furious car. I think it's way uglier than anything they've ever made before. Following the FB, FC, and FD RX-7, it just looks like a piece of crap, and it didn't have the perfect weight distribution anymore.
Yeah.
So it lost all of its sports car attributes that made the RX-7 the cult icon that it is.
Yeah.
It was just an extreme downgrade. People hated this car when it came out.
Yeah.
People were excited for its release, and then it just ended up being a piece of shit.
Huh. All right. That's fair. All right, Jet, what's your worst?
Camry.
Why is Camry yours?
It's boring and
That's awesome.
don't have good memories of it.
Because of our Bucky's experience?
Yeah.
It's a good memory. It was funny at least. No, I'm with you. The new Camrys are nice.
No,
they're
they're
like
not.
family sedans, and
The new Civics, I think, are really cool.
they have a lot of nice features in them. They're not like
I don't like the exhaust or the hood or the steering wheels. The seats don't feel well, and the brakes are slow.
Slow brakes are the worst, man. And those steering wheels. All right, good pick for the worst. For my worst, so I always try to do something, that's like, it's not really the worst. If I'm really picking the worst car, I pick the PT Cruiser. Do you know what those are?
I do.
They're so ugly to me.
There's one that drives around Allen that's got like purple flames all over it.
They look like a hearse. To me, what a
They
hearse
look like
is?
the baby's face. The structure of his face looks like a PT Cruiser.
Okay, I never thought of that. But do you know what a hearse is?
Yeah.
A hearse
Like,
is like
carry the
like a coffin.
casket,
Yeah, a casket. And I just always thought the style was dumb. If I didn't pick the actual worst, I was going to go for something that a lot of people like that I don't really like. So I had two that I was considering. Nick, when he sent in his listener choices, touched on one of them. It's Mustang. And then the other one that I really thought about was Corvette. Mostly because of the new ones. I really don't like. They look really cool. I'm not trying to hate on them. They look like McLarens. They look like maybe a Ferrari. They look like a supercar. They don't look like a Corvette anymore. I liked the way Corvettes looked in the past. They had their own distinct design, and it's gone. So I don't know. I thought about picking that as the worst. A Mustang.
I'm with you on Mustang. You see them; they're so common.
They're just everywhere, and they're not that good. They don't look that cool to me. Some of them, the older ones, do.
I was about to say the same with the Corvette. I think the new Mustangs are ugly.
Yeah,
I really do.
Yeah.
Anything above 5th gen or I forgot. Since like 2015, they had that new design.
Yeah.
And I don't like it. I really don't.
The thing is, like, the other thing about Mustangs is if you're going, like, if you can buy a Mustang and get a nice one, you could also afford a Dodge Challenger. Probably they're close to the same price, and a Challenger is just so much cooler in my mind. Like I don't know why
it's
anybody
so much faster too.
Yeah, and it's faster. So I don't know why you would buy a Mustang unless it's just way more affordable. I don't think it is. Like they're not expensive, but
I know what you mean.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think you're right on that. But people at my school, Mustang is probably the most common car besides Jeep Wrangler at my school.
Yeah,
a lot of kids have Mustangs.
Yeah,
and I honestly like that. Because they think, oh yeah, I got a V6 Mustang. It's an EcoBoost. Like, oh yeah. By the way, the new EcoBoost Mustangs, the total I don't want to say it, but like if you own one of them, it's not good. But a lot of people have them at my school, and a lot of girls do. I'm like, oh, you drive a Mustang? Yeah, that's real cool. You want to race? Every time they lose, every single time. I can't beat a GT.
Yeah.
If you have a GT, respect. Like those are cool. If you
Yeah.
own a V6 Mustang, I'm sorry. That's just like the lamest you can get.
The people that own V6 Mustangs are ones that like the style of a Mustang. They think they're cool, and parents don't want them to have a fast car or that they're too expensive.
And that's so it's so sad to see that because when you go to school in a V6 Mustang, everyone looks at you and they're like, "Oh man, look at that kid!" Like that. I'm so sorry. They must live a horrible life owning a V6 Mustang.
But like, think of it like a V6 Mustang, a new one, probably costs like $25,000, $30,000. They could get like a Camry or something for the same price.
And I would have so much more respect for you.
Okay, but what I'm saying is they like the way Mustangs look. They don't care about the performance so much. That's like the reason people get those cars.
I don't know. You might be right, but it's just about the lamest thing you can do is owning a V6 Mustang.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So that concludes our worst. You already did yours, right? Let's move on to listener choices. So I'll just go with what was. Well, first I want to tell a story. So I texted my guy friends on our group text about this episode, and Casey was the first to respond, and he listed a couple of cars that were not like what you would think of when you think of cool cars. Mm-hmm. He even said he's going for practicality here, like a Toyota Sienna. And
dude, I love Toyota Siennas.
And a Honda Element. And then he mentioned his 1984 Toyota pickup, which we just talked about. Right after his message, Dave responded with a 1984 Ferrari 308 GTS, the one from Magnum PI. And Casey's response was, wow, 1984 was a great year for cars, because he just put his 1984 Toyota pickup right before that. I thought that was hilarious. But the number one choice for listener choices was a 1964 Mustang convertible. Received the most amount of votes. Somebody also voted for a 1965 Mustang. I didn't add it into that, but very specific 64 Mustang convertible got the most votes, which I thought was interesting.
There's a couple of old Mustangs at my high school from the 60s and stuff. I actually watched one wreck.
Really?
Right in front of me, hit a curb and spun into a tree.
Ouch.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, let's keep moving on. We'll move on to the
Pew pew pew
good
pew
Glenn Solomon fun fact of the week.
pew pew pew
Good.
pew.
So we talked about the Lamborghini Countach before. One thing about the Countach is its name. It's fun to say.
Countach.
Countach. I only just now learned what it means.
What does it mean?
Okay, so one of the members of the design team, when he saw it for the first time, he exclaimed "Countach," which in his language, which he's from Italy, like the rest of the designers, but he was from another region that was called Piedmont. So his Piedmontese dialect was closer to French than it was Italian, but it's a blend. And Countach, it literally translates to plague or contagion, but when you use it as like an exclamation, it basically means like, "Oh shit." So it's like a curse word. And since nobody knows what it means, it's from this weird dialect, they just ran with it, and now everybody calls it a Countach.
That's pretty awesome.
That's where the name Countach came from.
That's pretty cool.
Jet.
Pun?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do your...
It's time for Jet's Pun of the Week.
Why don't you give us something to fuel our laughter?
What type of cars do snakes drive?
Let me think about this.
An Anaconda.
You didn't even let me think about it.
That was pretty good, actually.
I had a backup. What has 4 wheels and flies?
You already made a pun in the beginning.
I know you did. We went right past it. But what has 4 wheels and flies?
What?
A garbage truck.
Oh, I get it.
Oh, that's really cool. $2,500. Also, I couldn't figure out how to fasten my seatbelt, but then it clicked.
Not good.
Oh, come on. It was pretty good. All right. Well, that's all we got. So thanks, everybody, for listening. I mentioned up front how to contact us, so I'm not going to say it again. But I thought for our next episode, we could do summer memories because we're getting close to the summer now. And no, you don't want that one, Jet?
I just have no idea what's from summer. Let me think. Maybe.
We've done an episode on aspects of summer before, but I was hoping to maybe focus more on like specific memories from your lifetime that took place during the summer, which would be when you're off from school or on vacation, those type of things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right. So not set in stone, but maybe we'll do that one, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you guys have anything else to add before we wrap up?
No.
Okay. Is this still true?
I love pooping.
I pooped right before this.
Okay. All right.
Love you.